Hey guys, Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're talking about some movie adaptations. So I've been doing this new thing where I keep doing 5 of everything, and I'm going to do that with this as well. So every time I watch 5 movie adaptations after I've read the book, I am going to talk about them here with you guys. So we're going to do a little bit of catch up on some ones that I haven't done yet, and eventually the future videos will be a little bit more recent, but we're going to talk about 5 that I've watched it / read in the last few years. So first up, we're going to talk about Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. I read this book and watched the movie for this last year. Technically, I listened to the audiobook. I really enjoyed my time listening to the audiobook. It is slightly repetitive because this one is told, and this is not a spoiler, about a girl who keeps reliving the same day over and over again, in which the end of it she dies. And so she is trying to figure out how to stop that cycle, possibly also stop her death and also the death of some of her friends. And she is very popular, and she's kind of snotty and a little bit selfish, and so she's learning things as she goes, and then we just follow her through the journey. This is a very long book for a contemporary book / thriller. I'm not sure if this is considered a thriller or not. It does have a little bit of spooky vibes, but nothing major. I really enjoyed the audiobook a lot. I especially liked the narrator, who does a lot of Lauren Oliver's books. This is the only Lauren Oliver book that I have read / listened to. And I just really enjoyed my time. I personally thought the ending was absolutely perfect in so many ways that I can't share with you or I'll spoil it. But I watched the movie with my husband, I think a month maybe after I read the book, because it had just come out. Like most adaptations, it did not live up to the book, of course. But even separated as a movie, I felt like you didn't get enough of your heartstrings being pulled like you did with this book. You didn't have enough time to attach to your character or to get to know her and her friends. Things were kind of thrown together, so your sympathy and empathy for the characters were lowered because of the pace of the film. You didn't get as many repeated days because the movie obviously couldn't be super long like the audiobook was. So I really enjoyed the actress that played our lead character. I enjoyed a lot of the other actors. I liked the guy that did her love story in here as well. The flow was pretty good. Overall, it was a decent movie. It didn't get emotional enough like the book did. That was the main thing I was lacking from it, that I just wanted more emotion from it like I got from the book. So I did really like it, and I do recommend it, but it's just not, of course, not as good as the book. Next up, we're going to talk about The Giver by Lois Lowry. This is one that I read for the first time this year, officially all the way through. I read the entire series. I did really enjoy it. I didn't enjoy this as much as a lot of other people have enjoyed it. I thought that it was very open-ended, which I kind of understood because there is more companion books / an end to the series, but even that didn't tie up enough things for me. This one is a middle grade dystopian book set, of course, in a utopian society where virtually everything is controlled. Everything but our thoughts are controlled, which even those are controlled a little bit because of the way that the society is controlled. Everything you eat, the vitamins and pills you take, the way that we have kids, the way that you talk to each other, you can't even express love because feelings create emotions, which create problems in the society, and everyone's kind of become numb / used to this as the society has gone on. And so this is about a young boy who is supposed to find his job, which happens when you're 12 and you leave your parents and you go to your job, and then he gets a special job where he discovers a lot of things. I think I gave this one 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite in the series. I did enjoy it. I understand why everybody likes it so much. I might have enjoyed it a little bit more if I hadn't read so many other dystopian books. It's still good and important in the book community. It is a Newbery Honor Award as well. So I watched the movie immediately after I watched the book, which I don't love doing because sometimes I have so much remembrance of the book itself that I don't enjoy the movie as much because I'm nitpicking it too much. I try to go in with open mind, but of course your heart is give me more. I actually think that I enjoyed the movie for this more than the book. I thought it was really well done as a movie in general. Of course, there's things missing that weren't in the book, but not as many as you would expect. It was open-ended, but in kind of a figure it out yourself kind of a way, so it didn't necessarily need to continue on with other movies. There are a lot of really good actors in it. The young boy that played Jonah was really good. They have a very specific style to the movie, so I feel like you're either going to really love it or hate it, whether or not you've read the book. But I thought overall it was like a really good movie adaptation. It's probably one of my favorites as far as like movie adaptations go. My husband hadn't read the book and he did enjoy the movie as well, so I do recommend that one. And yeah, I think it's one of the best ones that I've seen. Next up, we're going to talk about Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. This one, again, I listened to on audiobook. It is narrated by Kevin T. Collins, who was just excellent. I feel like if you read the series and you didn't want to continue on based on just like how you were feeling reading the book, listen to them because they're so good on audiobook. He's so good at them. So this one is a fantasy story like set in modern times, and it is about a young boy in a southern town, and he meets this girl, and there's like mysterious qualities about her and her house and things in the town, and there's just mystery and magic and like darkness that happens in like family histories that he learns about himself, and it's really, really good, and I love the series. So I watched the movie like a couple months after I listened to the audiobook, and okay, so this one, like if you set the movie aside from the book, I thought that it was good, it was entertaining, and it was fun. It was definitely like cheesy and kind of weird, but it was enjoyable to watch. But if you're comparing it to the book, they changed a lot of things. They had to mix things up so that it wasn't quite so open-ended at the end because they weren't sure if they were going to continue on, which they didn't. I did like the character that played Ethan, although I enjoyed Kevin T. Collins' audio narration voice more. That's the only problem I have with audiobooks, is sometimes I want the actors to sound like the narrator, whereas it doesn't bother me as much if they don't sound like they do in my head. So it was very different from what I had listened to from Kevin T. Collins, even though I thought that the actor in the movie did a good job. It definitely had some lacking CGI skills, some lacking in some funding, you could tell, but there were some really good actors in, like Emma Thompson's in it, and some other famous people as well. And I did enjoy it, like as a movie. I thought it was like decent and fun and entertaining. As an adaptation, it probably wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible either, at least like I thought. It was like somewhat acceptable as far as what we're getting in YA movie adaptations go, the way that they go. But anyway, yeah, I did enjoy it and I would recommend it. I'm going to talk about, I'm kind of cheating here because I'm talking about two because they're in a series, but I'm going to talk about The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and The Second Summer of the Sisterhood, both by Anne Brashares. I read these when I was much younger, either in my late teens or early 20s, and I watched the movies when they came out as well, but I recently read and re-watched the movies, so I'm fresh to talk about them. So I love these books. They're 5 stars for me for nostalgic reasons. I think the characters, you just get so attached to them, and then I just think that they're just so much fun, and they've got some good lessons and some heartwarming stuff and some heart-wrenching stuff, and I love them so much. They were great on audiobook, they're great as a physical book, and they're fabulous as a movie. These books are about 4 girls and their best friends, and they've been best friends since they were babies because their moms were friends when they were pregnant. They all go into this store and try on this pair of jeans that miraculously fits them all, even though they're all different shapes and sizes and heights and all those things. And so they wind up being split apart for the first time one summer, and they're all in different places, so they wind up mailing these pants back and forth to each other, and then like doodling on them, and then like writing notes to each other and sharing their story while they're all doing different things split up for the first time. And then the second book is kind of similar. And it's really sweet and heartwarming, and I love them so much. And if you like contemporary, this is one that does not get talked enough about on book 2. They do change quite a bit about them, but not enough that it made me like mad. And I love the movies so much that it, even when I like reread them and saw like all the flaws and all the different things that happened, it didn't bother me because I thought the girls that they picked to portray the girls in the books are just awesome. They're some of my favorite actors, like Blake Lively, Alexis Bledel. Anyway, the actresses are just absolutely fabulous. I love them. I thought they're so good, romantic, fun, heartwarming, adorable, so cute. Such a good chick flicks, and they have like travel where they go to Greece, and then that's beautiful, and I love them. They're some of my favorite books and my favorite movie adaptations as well. Like I will watch the movies like over and over again because I enjoy them like so much. And maybe that's just nostalgia, but I just think that they're really well done. It's a lot easier to do contemporary books true to the story and in a good fashion than it is to do fantasy books, because you don't need CGI and you don't need like all this extra funding to make it like a really, really good film. But I really enjoyed them and I recommend them in all formats. And lastly, I want to talk about Eragon by Christopher Pliny. This is one I read recently, only a couple of months ago. Again, I listened to this one on audiobook. I swear I read real books, you can watch my wrap-ups. But I heard really good things about the audiobook narrator for this one, and it was correct. It was fabulous. It's so good. It's such a good fantasy world. I'm so sad that I didn't read these when I was younger. I tried, but I think I was so invested in Harry Potter that if anything wasn't Harry Potter, I didn't like it. But it's such a good fantasy world about a young boy that finds a magical stone that winds up being a dragon, and he has to become a dragon rider, and there are all these creatures and these different towns and these kingdoms and these royalty, and it is just so much fun. It's a whole series that I need to keep going on. I really enjoyed this. I think I gave the book 4.5 stars. Excellent, excellently well written, and Christopher Pliny was very young when he wrote it, which was kind of awesome as well. The movie adaptation, again, separated from the books. It's enjoyable, but it kind of, like my husband commented, that it kind of felt like a cheap sci-fi movie in some parts, because they did really great with the CGI with the dragon and everything, especially for the time period that it came out, but it just, there were certain parts when they were like flying and things like that that just were like, ooh. And then they definitely delved way off of the story, because this is a 500-page book and they really struggle with that in Hollywood to like do it justice, so they have to wind up changing a bunch of things, which of course as a book lover you don't love. I still enjoyed the movie. I think again that it was enjoyable and fun to watch. I think if you're a die-hard fan of Eragon, you probably won't like it because it doesn't really do it justice, but separated from the book, I thought that it was still fun to watch, especially if you like kind of like that medieval dragony time period, and especially for the time period that it came out, which was like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that. So overall I did enjoy it, but of course the book was better. Okay, you guys, those are 5/6 movie adaptations that I have watched. This is going to be episode 1 of this series, and I'm going to do more like throughout my channel, so stay tuned. Let me know down below if you guys like these, or if you are wanting me to read some books before I watch the movie, because it really broadens your reading when you start to do that, because there are a lot of books that I wouldn't read, but I wanted to read them before I watched the movie, so I did. But yeah, these are just a few that I've done recently in the last 2 years, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time on the bright side. Bye! Next up, we're going to talk about Beautiful The Giver by Lois Lap.